How can a long married couple face a new future when there are issues from the past that need to be resolved? Find out in our afternoon play in a moment. Then at 3, we've Moneybox Live with Paul Lewis.
Yeah, slightly less excitement on this programme. Why waste money? Every time you give £1 to charity and don't fill in a gift aid form, you normally stop the charity claiming back 28 pence from the Chancellor. If you want to know more, today's Moneybox Live is all about giving to charity. How can you get that tax boost to your gift? How can you tell your money's really spent on what you want? And how can you stop people pestering you when you want to make your own choices? The number to call, 08700 100 444. Lines are open for your calls now. Moneybox Live on giving to charity just after 3. That number again, 08700 100 444.
Thank you, Paul. We're now on BBC Radio 4, our afternoon play, which is set on a Welsh mountain farm. Like an Animal by Meic Povey stars Sian Phillips and Glyn Houston.
Dros y bryniau pell amdanat bob yr awr.
There he is. There, I see him. Ivan. There he goes, climbing over the stile, heading for the deep gorge. I knew he'd come today. I knew it. Well, fetch my stick, hurry. He's on the sheep track. Hurry, we'll have reached the mountain gate. Stay put, Ivan. Stay, I'll be with you now. My stick, woman. Make haste, for heaven's sake. We'll have turned around. Did you catch sight of the dog? Did you catch sight of Ivan? He was but yards away a minute ago. Tomorrow. Perhaps you'll call by tomorrow.
Seven years come Easter. That's how long it's been. 9 since we buried Madge.
9? Since Madge left us?
Ivan, 7.
7 or 8.
You were dreaming, slumbering.
Remembering?
Confused.
He used to call on a Sunday as a rule. Pockets bulging with sweets.
7 years. Don't waste your breath denying it. He died during the rebuilding of the old barn. It was you who cut the stones for Mr. Wilson.
I was working then?
That is when he died.
Cutting stones? Is that what I was doing? Oh, cruel work for a man of my age.
Now? Not then? Not when Ivan was alive?
He used to call on a Sunday. Pockets bulging with sweets. Arwen with his face against the window, waiting patiently for his shadow to appear over the ridge against the summer sky. There he is, Uncle Ivan. There he is, he's arrived.
It wasn't his real uncle.
It's what Arwen used to say, Mair.
A year in the bungalow, that's all, together. 2 for Ivan on his own.
Barely alive at journey's end. A needless expense. A reckless fancy interfering with the way of things. Madge imposing her will.
Thinking of the future, presumably?
Leaving before Ivan, when all was said and done. Leaving good mountain air for central heating. How can that be of benefit to anybody?
It's not what killed her. What's the matter with you? She was unlucky. It's not what usually happens.
That is what happened to her, Mair.
It was not how it should have been, Devi. It was Ivan's turn. That's the order of things. Had Madge left half a second earlier, had that boy who came across her left a second earlier or later, Had she stayed at home that day?
Madge never drove a solitary thing until she left for the bungalow. As soon as she did, she wanted to return at every opportunity. She was returning that day. To visit us, perhaps, who knows?
Be quiet.
He caught her all right, oh yes. He was there waiting for her, sitting on the bank, his eyes on the bend, having patiently twiddled his thumbs for 60 years. Damn him. Damn him. Took Ivan in her wake, nearly 2 years after. Such greed.
Weak heart.
Broken heart.
At his age, I doubt it. Half killed himself moving house instead of paying someone proper to do the work. Did you telephone the man? It will have to be done, Davy. Ask him to visit us here. That you could surely manage. Even I could manage it.
Don't you dare.
You'd rather wait until you're too frail to drag yourself up the stairs to bed?
I used to climb the Voile every day, unless it was gripped with snow or torn by thunder and lightning. I'll climb again when spring comes.
I'd be very surprised. You could hardly reach the door, never mind climbing the Voile. There'd be no need to climb at all in a bungalow. From room to room on the level, Davy.
I'll need less energy, less puff. I could start smoking again.
Oh.
I'm pulling your leg, don't fret. No harm will come of dreaming, hopefully.
The harm's been done.
Light up. First thing, one after the other. 2 packs daily without care or conscience.
Too late. You left it too late. And now he's on his way to collect his dues before his time, Davy.
We'll see about that. He's at the garden gate at the moment. He's not on the doorstep.
You must phone the man today. Offer a fair price. Escape before the weather turns.
In a row. That's where we'll be. Bunched in like 2 sardines. A bungalow either side. People in all directions.
Better that than wake of a morning, as I'm bound to do, with you a corpse beside me. I'd be in dire need of people then to move you from bedroom to parlour.
From room to room, on the level, by a wheeled coffin for added convenience.
What would I do should some misfortune happen here?
Pick up the telephone. Dial 999. What could be simpler?
Is that all?
Put the kettle on, as you do every morning. A pot for 3 rather than 2. For the ambulance driver and his partner.
They won't come here. We won't be here. You will phone the man, won't you?
You and Madge discussed the matter often, I know. You'd organised and schemed as to the way of things once Evan and I had gone. Poor Madge. To no avail.
It wasn't her fault.
There was nothing she could do about it, you mean? What if he were prowling this very night? Not to ravage me, but to ravage you. It might be me who's awake in the morning. It might be me making the tea. Nonsense. Is that what you wish? Not on your life. Who's dreaming now?
I have never suggested it.
You're the one who's always going on about the order of things?
Oh, the order was changed in Madge's case.
She was killed by a car. It was an accident, not fate.
Accident or no, he was waiting for her. You said so yourself.
In jest, to scare you. Nothing will harm us if we stay put.
How can you tell? It wouldn't be the first time.
No matter. It wasn't all bad. For Ivan during the last few years. At least he had the children. He'd often say, "It's not all bad, Davy. At least I have the children."
How fortunate. Glyn phoning every Sunday. Morvydd from some foreign land once in a blue moon. Very considerate.
They were strength itself during his loss.
They came to the funeral. They stayed a few days. Before, Glyn would drop by twice a year. Morvydd every 18 months.
They were there, Mair.
Yes, Davy. They were there.
What more could they do? Both with important positions, families to support, countless responsibilities. Morvydd is acknowledged, mind you, as an expert in her field. A mainstay of the legal profession, and not yet 40.
40.
And Glyn has climbed the ladder of the civil service remarkably quickly. Remarkably quickly, Mair.
40. He'd have been 40 next birthday. Same age as Morvith. I wonder what he'd be today.
It's of no consequence. We'll never know.
He was so clever with his hands. Do you remember the letterbox he made me at school?
Letterbox? A letterbox? He didn't make it. It was a box in the first place. An old shoebox. Are you out of your mind? All Arwen did was cover it with brown paper, put a slit on the top, and that little teacher girl helped him to do that.
He asked especially if he could do it, Davy. He presented it to me, formally and gallantly.
On the mountain with his father, that's where he'd be.
This is for you, ma'am. Yours for looking after me.
He never said such a thing.
He was destined for college. He was a marvel at sums, could count to 100 before he could walk.
How do you know? How can you possibly remember after so long?
College, then on, forward, everything before him.
Oh, be quiet, for heaven's sake. Leave it be, woman. Leave it be before I choke you.
I can see them. I've never stopped seeing them. In the shadow of the haystack between the cowshed and the barn, I can see them playing house. Arwen with his mop of curls, torn trousers and runny nose, and Morvith with her black severe hair, straight and severe, almost a boy's, nothing like a girl's at all. Arwen and Morvith, a husband and wife. Glyn, a neighbour. That's how it used to be. Not once did I see it different. That day, that morning, Arwen suddenly left the play and turned towards the house. And he saw me in the window, and he smiled and raised his hand. He smiled and raised his hand before turning back to the play once more. That is all the memory I have of him. How will it be, I wonder, when next I see him? Will he recognize me now that I'm old? It'll be heaving with people, you mark my words. Will he recognize me in the crowd? Who knows? It could be the very first thing I see. The smile and the raised hand greeting me. Who knows, it could be the other place. Perhaps that's where I'll be. The same place is all that counts. What is it? What's the matter?
Don't touch me. What on earth are you doing, touching me? You know full well how I despise it.
Not always. Not always.
He was here again this morning. First light, damn him. Damn him, Mair. It wasn't always so. Yes, he would visit once a year when I was small. Once, twice a year. What did it matter? He came and went. There one night and then not seen for months. There's another thing. At night, not mornings like he does now. The depths of night. Not sleeping, the pillow a bolt hole. My head beneath like a frightened rabbit. To no avail, chance it down the coal landing. What in heaven's name are you doing wandering about? Back to bed this instant, quickly, before I thrash you.
What's the matter, Arwen Bach?
To bed, before I half kill you.
In you get, cuddle up, hold me.
Spoiled him.
Only natural.
Moddy coddling a 6, 7-year-old? Unnatural, I'd say. Most unusual. Broken sleep, 5 o'clock start as it was. No wonder I was dead on my feet by 11. Spoilt rotten.
Comforting him.
Confusing him.
Demons. He was afraid of demons.
Made up. Making matters worse.
Asleep in seconds. Happy, warm, contented bundle.
From a world of demons to fairyland. You sent him there?
Don't talk nonsense.
Yes. You persuaded him that no harm would come his way as long as he kept faith with them. In life and in death.
I never lied.
So you say.
Ever, Davy.
So you say.
Ask him. He knows.
What? Knows what?
Ask him.
Who was he? Who was he, Mair? Will you answer?
Did you get to the mountain gate? A fine day for walking.
Was it you who tempted him here? Was it you who picked up the telephone?
He left pictures and a brief description.
Very generous.
End of the row, Davy. End of the row, not the middle like before.
And that is tolerable?
Same age as you, Davy, living next door. Same age as you.
What would I be doing with such a man?
Being neighbourly. Exactly how you used to be with Ivan.
Something different altogether. When I was with Ivan, all those years ago, each word was precise and in its place. Nothing was wasted. Even when there was talk of war one time, when every wretch on these slopes lived in mortal fear, neither Ivan nor I, for that matter, ever uttered a word. It was hardly mentioned. Each knew instinctively what the other was thinking. The stillness and calmness counted far more than mere platitudes. Are you seriously suggesting that such understanding is yet again within my grasp? That a man in a bungalow could possibly fill the void Ivan left behind?
You weren't the only one. I lost Madge.
You lost a chatterbox, certainly. How Ivan endured it for so long is beyond me. Talk through day and night. Nothing said at the end of it.
Madge had a good heart. She was a good woman, a considerate neighbour.
Considerate and talkative, Mair. And when the two of you got together, Lord help us, the first to fall silent would be the first to lose her voice. Now, don't you deny it.
How do you know? You were never there to hear us. They were secrets. Our secrets. Nobody knows what was really said. And no wonder. Poor Ivan was hardly allowed in the house, dragged off to wander that mountain before he could finish his tea.
Merciful escape. Look, where will I go from the bungalow, I wonder?
A telephone in the parlour. You wouldn't have to leave the hearth.
Who would telephone us? The man next door? Have you given him our number? Do you intend inviting him to tea? What will we talk about?
A tiny hole in the front door to see who's there. Choosing neighbours without giving offence.
My choice, Mair, was Ivan and the mountain. Ivan is gone, but the mountain will always be there.
What would it matter if it uprooted and flew away? What good is the mountain now you can hardly get further than the footbridge? You'll never leave my sight again, Davy.
Someday, sometime.
If that is what happens, if he chooses you.
Absolutely, that's what happens. Remember?
Not if I decide to meet him halfway. A hot summer's day, strangers in abundance on the mountain, milk and eggs enjoying a brisk sail, over the footbridge, up the sheep track, before the steady climb towards the deep gorge. Look down into the whirlpool, throw a stone or two into its eye. Slip, fall. What could be simpler?
That's not how it was. He heard voices, the fairies encouraging him to jump.
Slip, fall. Discovered a mile downstream. What will you say when the policeman comes to the door?
2 policemen, that's what you said, Mair. One in short sleeves, the other in uniform.
I took him for a salesman, that he'd called about business to see you. He's minding the sheep. He won't return for a good while. Of course, I couldn't tell him everything. I couldn't tell him the truth, I mean, not him.
It was the truth. You know full well that is where I was.
I couldn't share the truth with a stranger concerning what I knew, what I saw that day. Not a word did I utter to a soul for years, until I told Madge, eventually.
Madge? What on earth possessed you to tell her, of all people? What did you say? Lies, because that is what they were.
Did she confide in Ivan is another matter.
What did you tell her?
The truth as I remembered it. What I saw, who I saw going past the pantry window, who I saw following minutes later.
I was on my way to the mountain. I'd left the house to mind the flock. A sheep had gone missing. I went searching as far as Cribberenner. That is why I took so long. I mean, how many times must I say it?
That is what I told him. A sheep must have gone missing. He's never this late. When we arrived at Shop of Groys, they took him to the shop to begin with, if you recall. The policeman held my forearm and led me in. They were waiting for the ambulance, doing all they could until it arrived. There was a man, a walker from away, well used to such situations, I'd say, pumping his little breast up and down, putting his 2 lips over his 2 lips, and blowing. Could he hear me, I wonder? Could he hear my whisperings? I wasn't asleep, my lovely one. I was tired, worn out and dozing for 5 minutes. I was waiting for your father, my lovely. I heard him coming just before my eyes closed. I heard his whistle. I heard Fly barking. He'll be here any minute. Hold on, Arwin, my love. Hold on. Felt lightheaded. Fell back. The policeman catching me in time. That's when Ivan and Madge arrived. And then you, Davy. You. Last of all.
He heard voices. He heard the fairies.
Is that what you'll tell him? Persuade him that that is what happened? Take advantage of a child's innocence?
He's a man by now, surely, if such a place exists. A responsible man, mature in age and thought. And that is why it will be possible for me to explain to him fully.
A man, Davy, and him having heard the fairies. If he did go to them, if he answered their call, then he'll be a child forever.
He will not. They don't exist.
They do, according to you. They enticed him. They stole him from us.
In his head. Not for real. Not in fact. In his head. Because of your confusion over the years.
But you just talked about meeting him. A man, mature in age and thought. Such belief is exactly the same as believing in the fairies.
If. Look, what is wrong with you? Were he my mature man in age and thought, I could explain to him down to the last detail.
Were he a mature man, he would be alive. And there'd be no need for you to explain anything, because nothing would have happened. But that is not the case, Davy. He'll be a child. Facing a child is what's in store for you.
If you believe in fairies.
If you believe in heaven. It might be best if we went together. Hand in hand. Face him together, Davy. I could plead your case if needs be.
If such a place exists, and if I am to be the first, I'm more than willing to face the top man himself. Never mind anybody else. On my own.
Never mind the top man. It's Arwin you have to face. Sooner or later. Rwy'n edrych dros y bryniau pell am dan at bob yr awr. Tir dfan wylid mae'n hwyrhau am hael bron mynd I lawr.
Enough. What's wrong with you, woman? He's closing in as it is, without you going looking for him. He'll come, before you know it. He'll drag us down. There'll be no escape from his clutches. The very end, that's what it'll be, once he gets his teeth into us. Like a fox's jaw, slowly extinguishing the life out of his prey. It might take many months, but no matter, there will be no escape. Oh, for instant departure. Lucky Madge. Totally oblivious to her fate. She wasn't to know that the very last thought in her mind would be the very last thought in her mind. What was it, I wonder? Deciding what to get even for his supper? Or what colour hat to wear to chapel the following Sunday? Suddenly remembering she needed to buy a new pair of dishcloths? Or noticing a stray bit of thread on the sleeve of her overcoat? A stray bit of thread on the sleeve of her overcoat. Her last conscious memory, perhaps. Gone in an instant, yes. But how can that be avoided? Ending it all on such a dismal note. A bullet before firstly ensuring that the last memory of all is worthwhile. Seconds before resting the barrel against the side of the head. That day, given the choice, without question, that day would be the last memory. I have nothing to hide. I did no wrong. Wasn't my fault. Tell him, Mair, should you get there before me, if such a place exists, should you be lucky enough to arrive at all, you tell him from me that it wasn't my fault. What is it? What's the matter? What's the matter in God's name? Oh, for heaven's sake, stop making that dreadful noise! Are you ill? Is it in your mind to go before me? What would I do without you? Where could I possibly go? Don't leave me all alone in a bungalow. All alone with but a stranger for company. What if I lost the use of my legs? A strange hand forcing medicine down my throat, pushing needles into my arm, cleaning up my mess. An alien hand guiding me into a chair, in a row facing a row opposite. Everyone Jack wondering where the gap will be the following morning. Distant relatives shouting to be heard, talking rubbish, thinking that whoever is listening cannot understand. Dear Mair, don't leave me in a world I know nothing about.
What kept you? Where did you get to, Davy? The little one has been asleep for hours.
I couldn't get away. Ivan was talking, waiting for Ivan to finish.
Who did you see? Apart from Ivan, who else did you see on your travels?
Many. There were crowds in all directions. I saw all sorts.
He's been nagging all day, nagging to see you.
Don't wake him. Don't you dare.
Here he is. He's coming. How many times did I hear that shouted today? Here he is. Here he comes, riding the pony. The sweet innocent. The pony died years ago. Years ago. Take him with you next time. That is what he wants, Davy. Make him feel a man.
He is but a child, Mair. When he's older, he'll be more than welcome. Market days for men, not children.
Afraid of what he might see, Davy?
See? What is there to see apart from animals?
On 2 legs, some of them.
Men buying and selling animals.
Eyeing the best bargain.
What would a child do in such a place?
See.
Animals.
Observe.
Nag.
Realize. Strange language. Strange smell. Confusion. Who did you see?
All sorts. No matter.
Any strangers?
Naturally. Hot summer's day, strangers in abundance. Milk and eggs enjoying a brisk sale.
Is that what kept you? Talking to strangers?
Ivan was talking, not me. You're dreaming, Mair. I came as soon as I could. I'm here now.
You are. Now. Oh!
Lie still. It'll soon be over.
No, Davy. Best not. Just in case.
Come along, woman, before I do myself an injury.
You waking, Joshua.
Come on.
Best not, Davy.
All night long, that's all I ask. A man needs all night long without interruption, once in his life. Get into bed. Get him out of my sight.
Too late. He's awake. Hold him. The boy's awake and asking for his father. Explain to him in detail who you saw today. Tell him who you spoke to.
Ivan did the talking. I sat in the car.
You were talking too, or rather you were very near. Close, but not talking, perhaps. Very close, touching, rubbing against each other for a second even. That would explain the unfamiliar smell. That is why Arwen is holding on to his mother, refusing to let go, refusing to embrace you. He, too, has sensed all is not quite as it should be. Poor love.
How can it not be quite as it should be? I went to market, I sold 2 animals and was paid a handsome price. I have a pocket full of money, and now I'm home in good health. I drank a pint instead of my usual half, but that's not the end of the world, surely. Yes, I talked to some not talked to before, but that is all that happened. That is all that happened.
Hot summer's morning, the day after market. Strangers in abundance, milk and eggs enjoying a brisk sale. I saw her long before she reached the house, long before you left the house. You were shaving, Davy, for the second time that week. Shaving before setting off to mind the flock on an unfamiliar day, something which you'd never done before. Dada's shaving, Mummy, Dada's shaving, come and see. Shaving. Putting on a clean shirt and jacket, cutting, scrubbing your nails, a thing not done since your wedding night, lest you harm the sheep, no doubt, while manhandling them. Dada's stinking, Mummy, there's a funny smell on him, come and see. A few pennies worth, enough to send a gypsy woman on her way one time. A token stuffed behind the disinfectant for so long, waiting patiently until opened on that day. Why can't we go to the fair, Mummy? Because your father has to go to the mountain, child. Because your father chooses to go. Morvith and Glyn are going, why can't I? That is where I saw her for the very first time, before that day. A few months previously at the spring fair, although I did not realize it until that day. At the fair, leaving the coconut shy, Arwen's hand firmly held in mine, nagging to reach the merry-go-round. Moving towards us, you stepping into the road to let her pass, thanked in an unfamiliar tongue, unfamiliar smell. But that was not the first time you'd seen her, of course. I know that now. I knew it that day as she approached the house. I remembered how the both of you exchanged a smile as you stepped into the road, as she walked by, not a smile of thanks or acknowledgement, rather of conspiracy and lies, even in the presence of wife and child there under your very nose. But that was not the first time. There was an earlier meeting, another summer. Maybe it took more than one before a decision was reached, 2 or 3, who knows, for the urge to fester. Long winter months, with imagination running riot, rekindled the following spring, until what took place became inevitable. A fire raging inside of you, the desire like a dead weight in the pit of your gut, ever since the time and place was agreed upon finally at the market the previous day. Late arriving, smelling of drink, conscience pricking, obligations dutifully performed before turning over to sleep. Early to rise, the craving almost unbearable like an animal. Davy, you could hardly live in your skin. As she approached the house, when she was nearly upon the gate, I felt the lump in my throat swell even more as I realized how different she was. Impossible to tell when briefly glimpsed in the chaos of the fair, seconds in a crowd. Tanned arms and nape of neck, through idleness, not toil. Summer frock, hanging dangerously, concealing all kinds of delicacies and mysteries. As she went past the pantry window, I could smell her. Strange, unfamiliar smell, not unlike the night you returned from market. Strange, expensive, no doubt, that made me feel ordinary and worthless. As she reached the footbridge, a sudden gust of wind blew the frock nearly over her head, a moment quickly gone, but a feast for those who dream of such spectacles, I dare say. As the frock rose, she looked back and smiled, shyly yet suggestively, as if she'd heard the back door slamming shut. There was no holding back then. She strode towards the mountain gate as if her very life depended on it. "May I go with him? May I go with Dada? Where's he gone, Mummy? Where's he gone without me? When will he be back?" He will be back, but he will never be the same. He left a husband and father, and will return a stranger. A stranger with blood on his hands and venom in his heart. "Hold me, my lovely one. Closer. Hold on to me close. Don't listen to your mother, she's only rambling. The fear of loss confusing her. A sheep must have wandered. He might even have gone as far as Creeper-Erir in his search for her. Yes, that is where he'll be." When next I looked, all I could see was a flush of colour as the summer frock disappeared into the depth of the bracken. And you following, running almost. You didn't smoke so much then, Davy, or perhaps you did, but they hadn't then started to eat you alive. "Toffee! Let's make some toffee, and put it on the windowsill to cool. Your father will be home by the time it's ready, you mark my words." Naughty Mummy, she shouldn't be harbouring such dark thoughts. "Your father will return, having safely found the lost sheep." Can't you hear? Can't you hear him? He has found the sheep and is returning home. Can't you hear his whistle? Listen to the bark of the dog. Go out to greet him. Go out to greet him, my lovely one. I'll stay behind. I'll start making the tea. Tea for 3. Hurry! He's getting closer. His shadow will appear over the ridge before you put your shoes on. He will have reached the mountain gate before you get to the front door. Hold his hand tightly. He'll be so pleased to see you. Go. Hurry. You're old enough to go on your own. Go. You don't need your mother.
He did.
You don't need your mother to get to the footbridge.
He did.
Go. Hurry. But keep the house in sight, just in case.
In case you're dreaming, falling asleep.
I heard whistling and barking.
Dreaming, confused.
2 failed eggs, sticks, racing over the footbridge, through the mountain gate and up the sheep trail without a care in the world. Brave little heart beating faster than it ever did as he dared himself to go further than he'd ever been, as far as the peat bog and the majestic climb towards Creeper-Erir, to his left down the windswept plain, the sheep pen. Is that where you took her, Davy? Is that where you penned her in and chased her unceremoniously into the farthest corner? Is that where the teasing and laughter died? Is that where she realised it was no longer a silly prank, a childish game, but a need that had to be satisfied at all costs? Poor soul, expecting a loving hand, whispers and sweet nothings, realising too late that this was not the gentleman she saw at the fair, the gentleman who stepped into the road to let her pass, he who could hardly make himself understood, but who was, in spite of that, arousing her to an unbearable degree. Oh, what did he see? What did the wretched mite see when he came upon you, when he climbed to the top of the pen wall and called for his dada?
A ravaged sheep, that is what the boy saw.
A piece of cotton, white cotton, dripping red blood. A piece of cotton torn by a grasping hand without mercy seconds before. A scream, a roar as the passion was finally released, as the craving was finally satisfied.
A handful of blooded wool, a bleating sheep, not a scream or a roar.
A solid mass, thrusting and destroying. Blood and gore, the prey's pitiful howl, 1,000 howls inside his head. His terror had one with hers as he turned and ran for his life.
Running for his life, for his life. Come back here! Come back here before I half kill you!
Half killed inside. The whirlpool did the rest.
When eventually I found the sheep, when the dog had her under control between Cribberary and the pen, that is when I first saw the woman. Of course, it's possible I'd seen her previously in market or fair. Before then, never had I looked, touched, or coveted another. In your imagination, certainly, many times, but not in fact. Once, just once in my life, I exchanged a stranger's smile. Once I experienced an unfamiliar smell, in passing. A split second only. You too. A split second was enough. It fed you with little fears and prejudices as wind feeds fire. It entered the realm of the fairies and turned to pure poison in that little one's heart. That is when I first saw the woman on the plain between Cribberary and the pen, watching as the dog guided the lost sheep into the father's corner, taking out a camera, a colour camera, smiling kindly, mumbling in a strange tongue, bringing the camera up to her right eye, the sheep bleating and wailing. Perhaps she chanced too near. I did warn her, best I could. A step too far. Perhaps she saw too much. Perhaps that is why she ran away. Come back here. Come back here to your dada, you silly boy. I nearly caught him. I didn't smoke as much then. Or perhaps I did, but they hadn't then started to eat me alive. 2 inches away from his collar. 2 inches, which became 3, 4, a foot, a yard away from my reach, like a stone in the water.
From your reach, from your heart, from your conscience.
The boy slipped.
Slipped, fell, intentionally, accidentally, or otherwise. No matter now. We will soon know the truth.
What is it? Are you ill? Of course not. Oh, in God's name, stop it. Don't be the first to go. Don't leave me on my own. Oh, beloved Mair, not all alone in a world I know nothing about. Now you tell him the truth now. You tell him how it really was. No, wait. You won't have to. I'll tell him myself. You won't have to, Mair. Well, there he is. There, I see him, leaping over the stile and heading for the deep gorge. Bring out the toffee. Hurry! He's on the sheep trail. Hurry, or he'll have reached the mountain gate. The toffee, woman. Make haste, or he'll have turned back. Did you see him? He was but yards away a minute ago.
Tomorrow. Perhaps he'll call by. Tomorrow.
Like an Animal, Mair was played by Sian Phillips and Defi by Glyn Houston. Like an Animal was written by Meic Povey and directed in Wales by Alison Hindell. In a couple of minutes, Moneybox Live takes your calls on giving to charity.
BBC Radio 4, the news at 3 o'clock. A 15-year-old boy has been given a life sentence for the murdering a boy of 11. Meic Povey Mair has been detained indefinitely and can't be considered for parole for 12 years. Manchester Crown Court heard that he'd lured his victim, Joe Glyn, to his home, stabbed him to death and dumped his body in a park in Bury in Greater Manchester. Joe's father, Tom Glyn, spoke to reporters outside the court.
We've reached a point where Hamer has finally pleaded guilty. Many people were under the impression that Joe's case was all done and dusted and that his murder had been sentenced and was already serving time in prison. It's taken an enormous amount of preparation for us to get to this point, and it has been a long, frustrating, agonising wait for all of us.
A teenager has pleaded guilty to the manslaughter of a boy who was stabbed outside the gates of his school in North London in May. The 16-year-old denies murdering 15-year-old Kyan Prince, who played for Queen's Park Rangers youth team. The Community Secretary Ruth Kelly has told local councils that they have a pivotal role to play in helping to combat Islamic extremism. Downing Street has dismissed reports that the government wants university staff to spy on students. 90 sailors are believed to have been killed by a suicide bomber who attacked a military convoy in Sri Lanka. They'd been on their way home from a tour of duty in the northeast of the country, where government forces are fighting Tamil Tiger guerrillas. The bomber blew up a lorry full of